Okay, we've made our teapots. I fired them. They've become ceramics. Now what we need to do is we need to glaze them, and glaze is the special word we use for paint on ceramics. What I want you to do first is make out your sketches. So you're going to make at least 4 sketches. I want you to take a regular sheet of paper, fold it in half, that way you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and I want you to make 4 simple sketches. This shouldn't take too much time, but just so you have an idea. Here's my simple sketch. I just did a tree branch. I'm going to put some cherry blossoms on it, and I'm going to do a little river. So I'm going to do the cherry blossom branch on one side and the river on the other side. The Asian tradition, one of the Asian traditions, is that there's a lot of negative space. So it's okay to leave all of this space white and to leave it white on your teapot itself. When you're ready, pick out the colors that you want and then come see me and I'll give you the colors. The thing about glaze is the colors you see now are not necessarily the same colors that are going to show up on your fired piece of artwork. This color stays true, this one gets a lot darker, this one gets a lot pinker, this one's more brown, so that's why I want you to come up to me and I'll give you what you need and then you can work from there. Now, you're going to take off this so it doesn't fall off, and then with a pencil very lightly sketch in. If you color too darkly with your pencil, the pencil mark will show up after it's fired, and you don't want that. So I just very lightly sketched in my cherry blossom. Then you're just going to paint it in just like you would. The thing about the glaze is, though, you need to put at least 3 coats on. So go through, paint the whole thing once, then twice, and then a 3rd time. Also, you want to make sure that you get the paint inside all of those little cracks. So work your paintbrush into all of those little cracks. And if you paint outside your lines, that's fine. If you make a mistake, you can get a wet paper towel or a wet brush and you can just wipe it off. So here's my wet paper towel. And you can see I just wiped that right off. So because this was just a sketch, I didn't put in the cherry blossoms. So I'm going to do that in just a second here. And don't make your pencil line drawing too skinny, because you want to be able to actually get your brush inside your lines. I've got some pretty small detail brushes, but don't make them too skinny. Okay, then wash out your brush when you're ready to switch colors. You cannot mix glaze. So don't try to mix it, it will just not work. These are different, basically they're different chemical mixes, so you can't mix the colors and expect, for instance, if you were to mix a yellow glaze and a blue glaze, you would not end up with green. Take your brush, wash it out in a clean cup. Make sure there is no paint from a different project in here. Now it's okay if there's glaze water there, but it's not okay if that's paint water. I'm going to get some of my, this is going to actually turn out much more vibrant pink. Cherry blossoms are pink, surrounded by little white leaves. It's very pretty if you've never seen one. Okay, and that side is all done. I flip it over. I'm going to do my other side. And I think what I'm going to do is I changed my mind after the sketch, and I think I'm going to have it actually come down off of the handle a little bit. Now you can see right there how there's two different shades of glaze. That's going to show up after it's fired, so you want to make sure that you put on 3 coats of glaze. Now, if I want, and I'm just going to reach here and I'm going to grab some white because I just decided I want some white water in my river. So I'm going to go get some white and squirt it into my palette. And that's all I need, because I do not need much for the amount that I'm going to be using. Get this all clean. I've got my 3 coats on here. And I'm going to put on some little white. Now, I don't want 3 coats of white on here because I want it to be just a little bit translucent. Okay, putting those 3 coats on makes it opaque. Not putting on 3 coats makes it translucent. It means just a little bit of the background color shows through. Alright, now that's all I'm going to do for this example. I would say that it probably needs something else. I might put some birds here. So I'm going to grab a little bit of black. I'm just going to put some, a little bit, just do that simple little symbol for a bird there like that. Number 2. Okay, there. Bring it to me when you're done. We'll take a look at it, make sure that it actually looks good and looks finished. You can also, if you'd like to decorate the top of this, just any color, you may do that as well. Then, you're going to get this pink stuff in a jar. This pink stuff will turn clear when it's fired. So that goes back to glaze not always looking like the color it looks like. Not always being the color it will turn out when you see it wet. With this pink stuff will make it shiny, it'll make it waterproof, and it will make it functional. It will also seal all these colors in. What you need to do is you need to dip your brush in there and you need to paint over this. You need to be kind of careful that the colors don't smear, so it's more of a dabbing than a painting. And you want to paint it until you cannot see your painting anymore. You don't want to see any color. And you need to dab it all over the place. Now, you need to make sure that this pink stuff does not touch the table. Okay? It's easy to clean up from the table, but if it rests on the table, it will fuse to the bottom of the kiln. What actually happens is this glaze is actually made of teeny tiny sand particles. Those teeny tiny sand particles melt and become glass and fuse to anything it touches, which means it will fuse to the bottom of my kiln. And you can guess which one I would rather destroy, my very expensive kiln or your project. Your project is not going to win that battle. So continue to paint over everything. Now remember how I just said things will fuse? So if you were to put glaze right here, it will fuse your top on and you won't be able to make tea. So if you accidentally get any glaze where you're not supposed to, again, get a wet paper towel and just wipe it off. So after you're done here, it's always a good idea to just take a paper towel and just wipe the bottom. Make sure you don't get any glaze on the bottom there. Also, don't glaze the bottom of your top. If you glaze the bottom of your top, it's going to fuse to your project. So just glaze the top of your top. Again, you want to make it so that it's a solid pink. And this will probably take you a while. The sketches, putting the picture on, not going to take you a while. Putting the rest of this glaze will take you a while. If you don't get done putting all of your glaze on today, that's okay. I'll finish it up for you, but I want you to try to do me the favor and get it all done. Now I can see a little bit of that picture there. I'm just going to put like a 4th coat on there. 4 coats is plenty. There. While it's wet, I can't see the picture very well, so that's good. You don't have to dab where there's not that first coat of glaze, where there's not your picture. So all this white part I can just paint on regularly. And as long as it looks like a pink and you can't see the white, you're good. So there's half of it, and I'm not going to finish the rest because I don't want to waste your time. So now you know what to do. For the inside, I will glaze the inside for you. What I just do is I just pour a bunch of glaze in there, and then I pour it out the spout. That makes the whole inside glazed as well, which makes that waterproof, which allows us to pour tea in there and pour it out the spout without the tea soaking into the ceramics.